Hey everyone, I'm Mariana, and in view of recent events and the social distancing I hope everyone is practicing, I think we can all use some Netflix recommendations. So I've been looking through what's available to stream, and I found some really underrated films that I think you guys should check out or watch again if you haven't seen them in a while. Honestly, just looking at this list in front of me right now, I want to sit down and rewatch every single one of these films because even though there are a lot of pretty good movies on Netflix that definitely deserve to be watched, every single film that I picked today on this list, in my opinion, is either great or really great and absolutely deserves way more attention than they get. So grab a comforting beverage of your choice, get a list ready or your queue ready so you can write all of these down or add them to your queue, get comfortable, and let me give you 15 underrated movies that you can stream on Netflix right now. US Netflix, obviously, since that is what I have access to, and I'm sorry if some of these are not available for you. First of all, Freaks. Not the 1932 horror classic, but the 2019 sci-fi thriller that I am pretty sure nobody saw in theaters other than my friend and I. What's fun about this one is that it's the type of movie that has you questioning reality as well as who can be trusted and who can't. Basically, a father keeps his 7-year-old daughter locked in the house because, according to him, if they get discovered, they will be killed. Is he crazy, or is there something actually going on? And how does the sci-fi thing play into this? You're gonna have to watch it to find out. What I really liked about this one is that it's a different take on a very popular subgenre. It has some issues, but it has solid performances. I thought it was very interesting, and I would love to see more films in this vein. Next up, and by the way, these are not ranked or anything, I'm just going down the list. If you are a fan of ambitious concept sci-fi and you have not seen Mr. Nobody, you need to watch it immediately. I honestly don't want to tell you much about it because it's best if you just go into it not knowing much and let Jared Leto take you on a journey. Let's just say the story is set in the future and we are diving into the memories of the last mortal on Earth. There are a lot of interesting themes intertwined in this sci-fi drama, and it's the type of film that messes with your mind and you're going to want to discuss it with people once you watch it. You're going to think about it, you're going to try to figure out what's going on. Whether you're talking about time, the choices we make, the butterfly effect, our existence in general, all of that and more is going on in this film. Continuing with the theme of fun concepts, The One I Love is a movie that I haven't seen anyone talk about for some reason. I only recently watched this one kind of on a whim, saw it on Netflix, thought why not, and it surprised the hell out of me. First of all, this is starring Elizabeth Moss and Mark Duplass, who are amazing together playing a married couple. Second, this is a very interesting twist on the whole couple goes on a retreat to try to fix their marriage type of story. You may think this is a romantic comedy of some sort, but let me assure you, it's not. It's actually somewhere between a drama and a mystery, maybe a little bit of a thriller in there, but it's not without some well-placed humor. Just watch it. And since we're talking about Mark Duplass, let me just take this moment to tell you that I believe that Creep 2 is super underrated and actually better than the original Creep, which the first Creep is underrated as is, but the sequel even more so. Both films revolve around Joseph, who is a very, very strange individual to say the least, and he is looking for a videographer to record his daily life. I'm going to keep this one vague in case you haven't seen the first movie, but as you may suspect, things get pretty weird and, well, you know, creepy. Yes, these are found footage type horror movies, and I completely understand if you're not a fan of that subgenre. I am not a fan of it as well, but from my perspective, these are the better found footage movies. I really do think you should give them a chance, and as I mentioned, the sequel in my opinion, better than the original in this case. It's somehow weirder, more interesting, and kind of funnier. Next up, Into the Forest, an A24 film I am once again not sure why nobody talks about, because it does have some issues, but it's a beautiful, beautiful story, and it has amazing lead performances. The movie starts at the beginning of the apocalypse and follows two sisters played by Ellen Page and Evan Rachel Wood as they try to adapt to this new, more dangerous world. The two actresses really bring the characters to life, and I really loved how the film showed the bond between the two sisters. It felt so honest and so real. Plus, I always appreciate a different take on a post-apocalyptic story, and I am sure I am not the only one. Now for something completely different, and I do mean different, if you haven't seen Swiss Army Man yet, I do think you should give it a try. Yes, the movie about Paul Dano stuck on a deserted island with a gassy corpse of Daniel Radcliffe, and about how they go on a very strange adventure together as this corpse turns out to be very useful in many situations. It's a very strange film, but it really surprised me because I did not expect to connect with it as much as I did. It was an oddly emotional experience for me. There were things that didn't completely work for me here just based on my personal preferences, but the honesty, humanity, and loneliness of this film just stole my heart. Next up, and this wouldn't be a proper list from me if I didn't have a South Korean film recommendation here, and the one I'm pretty sure most of you haven't seen or even heard of is Forgotten. I'm just going to resist the urge for the joke here. Not the Forgotten from 2004 with Julianne Moore, not that one. I am talking about the 2017 mystery thriller from South Korea. This is another one of those films you should watch knowing as little as possible about it, because the story here is something else. Basically, a guy's brother is abducted, then shows back up 19 days later with no memory of what happened. That's all you need to know. More people need to discover this film because you guys are missing out, and I need people to discuss this film with. Trust me, you will not regret it. Staying with the mystery thriller theme, here's a film that some of you might have heard of and some of you might have seen, but if you haven't, you should really watch The Gift. Not the Sam Raimi film from 2000, but the one from 2015. Jason Bateman and Rebecca Hall play a husband and wife who can't seem to get rid of a strange friend from the husband's past, played brilliantly by Joel Edgerton. Secrets, suspicions, and all kinds of psychological thriller shenanigans ensue. I remember seeing the trailer for this one and thinking it looked pretty cliche, but I was so surprised because this film ended up being a lot more clever, a lot more tense, and a lot more subversive than I expected it to be. I don't hear it talked about often or at all at this point, but it definitely should be. Now, you guys know I am a big fan of Green Room. And if you don't know this, you haven't seen my previous video and you should definitely go watch it. But have you seen the director's previous film, Blue Ruin? Because if revenge movies are your thing, you do not want to miss this one. What I love about Blue Ruin is that it's actually not your run-of-the-mill revenge movie. It's not flashy or gratuitous or anything like that. It takes a broken character and tells a very grounded story that not only concerns itself with revenge, but also with the meaning of violence. It's a smart, slightly slow burn thriller that grabbed my attention right away and did not let go until the end. Some people even argue that this is a better film than Green Room, and honestly, I can kind of see where they're coming from. Next, I have another foreign language film recommendation for you, and that is The Invisible Guest. It is a Spanish film, and the actual title translates into Setback, a much more fitting title for this movie. I don't know why they changed it. This is, you guessed it, another really good mystery thriller. The setup is a businessman is arrested after waking up in a hotel room, locked from inside, with his mistress murdered in the same room while he was unconscious. This is the type of movie where you're constantly trying to figure out what is actually going on, what happened, what's the real truth. You're trying to piece the thing together as more details get revealed, and I love that type of thing. While there are some things in this movie that you just kind of have to go with, it's still a very interesting, a very fun, and a very engaging watch. Now, I have 5 more movie recommendations for you, but those fall much more into the underappreciated category rather than actual hidden gems, because I think the cinephiles among you probably have seen at least a few of them. But they're also the type of movies that I can see sitting in people's queues for years because they aren't really talked about enough. So here I am giving you the motivation to finally watch these or rewatch them so you can remind yourself how great they are. To begin with, the unfortunately titled Slow West. Who wants to watch a film that immediately tells you it's going to be slow? Let me clarify the situation. This is not some drawn out, slow, cliche Western, despite of what the title sounds like. Yes, this is a Western, but it's not at all slow, and as someone who isn't a fan of that genre, I can tell you that this is a different spin on it and is generally an unusual coming-of-age story with fantastic performances from Michael Fassbender, Cody Smith-McPhee, and Ben Mendelsohn. I honestly was enchanted by this film. I can't find a better word for it. It's actually hard for me to pinpoint what exactly made me love this film so much, but I loved it. There's something that feels almost whimsical about it. I don't know, I'm not doing a great job of explaining, but it's a beautiful story with great performances and an amazing setting and a point of view, so you should definitely watch it. Next up, Krisha, the first film from the writer-director Trey Edward Schultz, whose name may sound familiar because he's the man behind films such as It Comes at Night and Waves. Krisha is for those of you who are looking for a good small-scale drama. The film stars the director's real aunt and revolves around a very tense Thanksgiving family gathering as Krisha returns to visit her family after being estranged and struggling with addiction for many years. As you can imagine, things get more and more complicated as family gatherings do, especially in a situation like this. It's a very powerful film, and I will warn you, it hits hard pretty much the entire time. But that's also what makes it brilliant. Now, if you want to just get away from this world and see a fantastic independent sci-fi film, you should watch or rewatch Moon. This is a film many people forget about, and it did not get a lot of attention back when it came out, but I am telling you, this is one of the best sci-fi films ever made. Made on a budget of just $5 million, this is a film about a man who is nearing the end of his 3-year solitary mission on the far side of the moon. An absolutely fantastic performance from Sam Rockwell and a truly unforgettable story. I actually have a video about this one on my channel. It's pretty old, but I stand by everything I said, so check that out for 5 more detailed reasons of why you should watch this film. But yeah, this is one of my all-time favorites, and I loved it even more on my rewatches. Back to family dramas. If you haven't seen the Turkish-French film Mustang, it's on Netflix, and you need to watch it because you're going to love it. This is the story of 5 young sisters in a remote Turkish village and all of the social and cultural things that come with that. The girls in this film are something else, and this is an incredibly powerful and often heartbreaking coming-of-age story. As soon as I was done watching this film, I was ready to see it again. It is simply one of the best films that came out in 2015. It is in my top 3 for that year, and I cannot recommend it enough. It is that good. I just loved every single one of these girls, and I loved how honest this film and their relationships felt. Also, if you're worried about this being endlessly depressing, Yes, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but it has a very good balance between the darker moments and the lighter moments. So don't be afraid of it. Give it a try. It's amazing. Finally, you guys didn't think that this list was going to happen without my Lord and Savior Denis Villeneuve, did you? Because I am here to urge you to watch, or once again, rewatch Enemy. I really don't think this film gets enough credit, and there are so many people that I know who still haven't seen it. Yes, people do think it's a great film, people who've seen it. However, I still think it's underappreciated because even if you think this film is good, it's actually better than you remember. This is a psychological thriller where Jake Gyllenhaal discovers he has a double, and things go from weird to even weirder. It's a puzzle of a film that you have to figure out as you watch it, and as the opening says, chaos is order, yet undeciphered. That's a perfect description for that film. Not only is Enemy how I discovered my favorite director, but this is also a really fascinating film to watch and rewatch because you discover details about it that you may not have noticed the first time around. And do I even need to tell you about how great it is to watch two performances from Jake Gyllenhaal in one film and the crazy moody visuals that it has? I don't think I need to tell you about it. Watch this film if you haven't, and if you have seen it, I think you need to see it again. All right, guys, that's it for this video. That was a lot of recommendations to get through. I hope you find a new favorite among these because I really do believe, as I mentioned, that they are great films and they deserve a lot more attention. I hope you guys are staying safe. I know it's a stressful time for all of us. Don't panic. Stay home. This will pass. We will get through it. And if you're looking for some escapism, for some movie and TV and book recommendations, come back to my channel. I have a lot of videos coming up. I have a lot of fun plans. So if you want to, get away from the news, I'll be here talking about movies as I always do. Thank you to everyone for watching this video. A special thank you to all of my patrons, especially those of you who are still supporting me during this time when people are, losing their jobs and all of that. Thank you so much. And a special thank you to the patrons whose names are on the screen right now. As always, I hope all of you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. And I hope you're having a reasonably great day. I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye.